and I would invite you to weigh in on each of these. Just a quick thought on each of these, just random things that happened in the game that involve somebody making a key decision. Mike Tomlin, on the first series, throws his flag on a spot play on Deontay Johnson on the sidelines. I did not, absolutely not see an angle that would have made me say, yeah, I'm throwing my flag. And even if I did, I don't think I would have. Spot fouls rarely get reversed. Bob, this was crazy, I thought, to throw it that early on that play.
Yes and no. First of all, I'm of the belief that on plays like that, they should do what they do in college. Have a quick review up. If someone upstairs notices something, they should have the right to buzz down and say, hey, let me look at that real quick. I know that's not going to happen in the NFL, but it should, because it doesn't take a lot of time and you get the correct call. I happen to think it was a bad spot. Ron?
Well, it's a third play of the game. I probably wouldn't have taken a chance. I agree with Joe. You very rarely see those overturned. I didn't like it at that point. I don't know who was telling, Tomlin to do that. I guess, Austin's down on the sideline now, right? He was supposed to be the guy. I don't know if Brian Flores told him to challenge it or not.
I honestly didn't mind it because it was very early in the game. You're trying to arrest some momentum on the road. You're playing the defending AFC champions in their house. And I thought if that extended the drive, this was before we knew anything about what the offense was going to look like for the rest of the day. That drive gets extended.
But did you see an angle that if you were advising Tomlin, would you say, Mike, you got to throw the flag here?
Not necessarily, no, but I thought it was at least 50-50, if not, maybe a little bit less for it. But I thought there was at least a chance that it could get overturned.
Decision 2, the flag that cost Cam Sutton a pick. There was a lot of hand on the back, wrapping around the back in this game by defensive backs and linebackers, and I didn't think it was adjudicated very consistently, Bob. That was a ticky-tack little play. I thought it was a legit pick. You?
Yes, legit pick, same reason. I mean, if you're going to call pass interference or anything that, impacts a play, to me it's got to be pretty egregious, something that you notice. If you're going to start doing it that way, you better even it out, and it wasn't even out that way, Ron, so I thought that was a bad call.
You guys have an advantage over me because you see the replays at home a lot more. I had a bad TV angle and only saw it one time. I thought he grabbed them, but, again, if you're talking consistency, maybe they should have let that one go.
I thought generally they let them play throughout the game. There was a lot of contact on both sides, both teams.
There was.
That was the one time that they didn't let it go. So overall, I think they did a good job, but probably not the right call there.
Decision 3. The Bengals are down 20-14. There's about 8 minutes left in regulation. They're 4th and 6 from the Steelers' 36. Bob?
I'm sorry, I was tweeting. I admit, you should have gone to Ron there. Can
No,
you do that? Can you pass to Ron?
What did I say? What did I just say? This is like having a kid in my class who's not paying attention.
I have to answer a question for work.
Can you do that during the break?
I admit that your eyes came up, you focused on me doing it, and you went to me. Ron, could you take that, please? And then
I'm not even done with the question in the middle of it.
He hasn't even described the play yet.
This is like having a wayward kid in my class that I have to rein in. I mean, it's incredible.
I admit I was doing it. I'm sorry I had to answer a question from work. Go ahead. Do it again.
From work, but this is just play, right, Ron?
No.
This is just
Here
his
we
hobby.
go.
This is a hobby.
I'm shutting my
This
phone
is a
off.
hobby, Ron.
Phone
right?
doesn't exist. Let's go. What is it? He
The
made eye
Bengals-
contact with me, Colts.
I know.
He knew it.
He did.
He went to me and he knew I was not paying attention, but I couldn't. I would have figured it out eventually. Ron, go ahead.
Bob, in fairness, he has gone to you first throughout this entire exercise.
Finally, Folsey sticks up for me with
Bob,
Bob.
he still hasn't described the play yet.
It's real simple. They're at the Steeler 36, down by 6 with 8 minutes left in regulation. It's 4th and 6. And instead of going for a 54-yard field goal, I think, was their snapper still in the game at that point or no?
I think he was.
They stay. The offense stays on the field, and Burrow gets picked again. What would you have done there, Bob?
Gone for it.
Okay. Folsey?
I don't know. McPherson's one of the best kickers in the league, and he already made, what was it, a 59-yard field goal earlier in that game? I would have kicked it.
Ron?
I absolutely would have kicked it too, as long as the snapper was still in the game at that point.
Yeah.
If he was hurt, that changes everything.
Decision number 4. This one drives me nuts, Bob. Whether it's college or pro, when people start chasing points early. Good for them that it worked. But Zach Taylor goes for 2 late in the third quarter to make it 17-13. I mean, it's not like the Steelers weren't still playing pretty well defensively. If he doesn't get that, it's 17-12, and all the Steelers need is a field goal, and then all of a sudden you're chasing. You have to go for 2 then. I'm not going for it that early, a 2-pointer, Bob.
Generally, I would disagree with you, but in this case, I do agree with you. I'm a big proponent of you have the 2-point conversion. I'll go back to Pitt on Saturday. They had a hobbled Nick Patty after Slovis is done. He couldn't even walk. Number one, they have him under center, but in that situation when they scored late in regulation, I would have gone for 2 just because I do not want to elongate the game.
Sure,
Ron.
but this is the third quarter.
Right. In this case, I agree with you. I wouldn't have done it.
Folsey?
Oh, man. Yeah, I go back and forth on this because there's going to be a situation maybe later on where you have to go for 2, but not necessarily in this situation because it was, you didn't have to go for 2 there. You didn't have to make up those points. So overall, I say, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done it.
Ron?
I grew up in the Chuck Noll era, and Chuck always preached, take the points if somebody's going to give them to you. At fourth quarter, maybe, absolutely, I'll go for 2. Third quarter, there's still so much time left. If they hadn't have made it, it's 17-12. Now, if the Steelers can even get a field goal, now it's an 8-point game instead of a 7-point game. I absolutely kick it there and take the point.
Steelers have a 3rd and 16 later in the game here. And instead of actually trying to convert, they just run a give-up play and punt it back to the Bengals. What are you doing there? I think it was 3rd. Let me see here. It was 3rd and 12. No, what? It was 3rd and 16. And
yeah, they went to Freiermuth for 10, and it was thrown underneath.
Yeah, it was a give-up play.
It was a give-up play.
They're winning. Cincinnati has just scored and gotten the 2-point conversion. Steelers get the ball, right? It's 3rd and 16 at their own 30, and they basically run a give-up play.
Right.
Bob, that decision.
Well, first of all, I don't necessarily have that much problem with that decision. I do on the previous play. I think if you're going to, they took a penalty on that. Dan Moore was called for holding, and it was, they're down. I'd be more aggressive with second down plays. I wouldn't have just tried a shovel pass, I think is what they ran. It went for nothing. Shovel passes and jet sweeps were a large part of their offensive design. And I think maybe Cincinnati kind of knew it was coming again or something similar. So I would have been more aggressive before I got to 3rd and 16, trying to make it 3rd and less than that.
Ron?
Well, I think they trusted their defense at that point. Again, they saw the way the game was going. 3rd and 16, I don't know what your chances are of completing that first down. Now, on the 3rd and 6 play before when Moore was holding, that's when Trubisky ran for 6 yards, would have had the first down. I had no problem being conservative there. Pick up some yards, punt it. Cincinnati ended up getting the ball back at its 9-yard line. I have no problem with that.
I hate the line of conservative thinking usually, but in this case, I hadn't seen Mitch Trubisky make a downfield throw, aggressive throw the entire game, and my defense was playing out of its mind. So, okay, fine. I mean, a give-up play, sure, it looks bad, but I understand the line of thinking there.
Yeah, I guess I do too. Now I sound like the second Trubisky train.
You sound like the second Trubisky train there.
If I have a real quarterback and a real NFL offense,
Exactly.
I drop back on 3rd and 16 and try and throw the ball to one of my talented receivers.
But
is what I do.
clearly you didn't.
I know. And the Bengals had just scored, by the way, so I was kind of getting the feeling that Burrow was going to start to come around, but they did hold them. All right. Did anybody see the Minka hit on Boyd that he got called for a personal foul on that
Yes.
final?
Yes.
Was it a legit call?
It could have gone either way.
Borderline, yeah.
I never saw
I
the
didn't think it
replay.
was legit. I only saw it once. This was after the incompletion, right? He kind of clipped him in the back of the end zone. I didn't think it was a legit call.
I understood why they called it, but they didn't have to call it.
Man, that's a
put it that
big
way.
call in
It
that
was a big call.
situation. Bad decision by the ref. I'll take your guys' observation on that. All right, one more. 15 seconds left on the play clock. 15 seconds left on the play clock. Cincinnati is punting late in overtime. And instead of being ordered to run it down to like 2 before he kicks it, Huber kicks it with 15 left, and that the Steelers used those seconds to literally win the game. Horrible decision by him, and a veteran punter, and by Zach Taylor not to give him those orders, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I thought, that's the clock. You need the clock to work to your advantage at that point, and they did not do it. So, yeah, I thought it was a bad day for Zach Taylor in so many ways. We didn't even talk about that Chase touchdown that would have been a touchdown, and he could have challenged that.
Horrible. Yeah, that was a huge decision. I thought we did. Ron mentioned it earlier, but absolutely should have challenged that. All it was maybe the game-winning play at the time.
And he thought he was going to get it. Maybe he thought, we're going to score anyway, and they didn't. The Steelers put up a
That
fence,
was crazy.
and they didn't let him score on 4
downs.
downs.
And then Steratore came on and said, yeah, that's absolutely a touchdown if they challenge. Ron, any comments on the above? Is Ron there?
Ron?
Uh-oh.
Oh, he might have dropped off.
Bob, can you call for Ron?
Can I text him? Since you have outlawed my phone, I can't do that here now.
Oh, that's right. Your phone is off limits in my classroom.
That's right. Don't look at me anymore. You're picking on me. I'm a student trying to learn, and you're picking on me.
Wait, I got one more. No, please.
Let me just, can I give you one?
Yeah.
Only because I got a lot of tweets on this yesterday in our post-game show. Why would the Steelers run a play before they kicked that? The reason they did it was to avoid having time for – it wasn't a play designed to do anything but throw the ball away. Take 3 more seconds off the clock. Remember at the end? So the clock would run out.
Yes.
They did not want a Hail Mary attempt because if he misses from there and there's time left, you can just try a Hail Mary. Or if there's enough time, a quick out to give McPherson more time.
Yeah, I actually thought that.
That was a good call, I thought, by Mike Tomlin.
It was. It's a little bit risky just to actually snap
it and throw it away.
I know. But you never know what can happen. But I actually think it was a smart call.